I want to talk to you about some tangible steps that you can take to start reprogramming your mind for success. You can incorporate this and really start tapping into that deeper layer that is going to help you achieve the goals that you have. What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in to yet another episode of Walking Manifestator. And in today's conversation, I want to talk to you about some tangible steps that you can take to start reprogramming your mind for success. Now, these are things that, of course, have helped me in my journey, and this is also backed by studies that have been conducted. So I can only hope that some of the stuff that we're going to cover today is going to be things that are going to be useful for you so that you can incorporate this and really start tapping into that deeper layer that is going to help you achieve the goals that you have. Now, one of the first things I want to start off with is that 90%, of our subconscious behaviors are actually embedded in us from the subconscious brain, meaning the things that we have been conditioned to react as and do based off things that we have learned throughout our journey in this world. Now, this is very important to understand because if you don't understand what is keeping you in the same level that you are, whether that be from a physical perspective, from a spiritual perspective, or from an emotional perspective, these are things that you are obviously blinded by, right? You're in this state where you don't see your blind spots, and it's very important to take the time to really address these things so that you're able to truly reprogram your brain for your success. A lot of the times we don't take the time to realize that the behaviors that we are telling ourselves subconsciously, of course, it's not like you wake up in the morning and say, hey, I want to have a horrible day, right? But subconsciously, you're having these conversations with yourself, which are making it harder for you to truly program your brain for that success that you are hoping to attract. Something very interesting as well. I was listening to this podcast the other day, and it was with Mel Robbins, and she had this guest on, and the guest was talking about how money can be very intimidating to a lot of people. Money can be something that can make a lot of people feel afraid. And then she went further on and said that money is a limited resource. And I didn't really agree with that, and I'll tell you why. This is actually a limiting belief. This is a block, because if you really tap into the law of one, we know that we are everything. We know that everything is here for our abundance, but it's the limiting beliefs that pass down through generation and generation that makes us believe that there is not enough of something, whatever that something might be. Maybe for you, it's, there's not enough resources from a monetary perspective, but to somebody else, it can be resources from an actual physical perspective to a even deeper layer, which could be emotional, right? Very limited resources in terms of maybe the love that I can feel, and it trickles on to this very overwhelming wreck ball. So something that I have personally started to really get comfortable with was, where does this belief come from? And we've talked about it before. If you don't understand where you're going, there is no way for you to really get to that end goal that you have in mind. It's like putting on the GPS, I don't know where I'm going, and hoping that the GPS is going to take you to the destination that you are hoping to get to in your mind. So my first tip for you guys today is going to be to get very clear. You need to get very clear on what you want, but also on what you don't want. And something that personally has helped many people is you can go to that dark place. This is something that, if you think about it, a lot of the times people, when they have these limiting beliefs geared around, and we'll use money as an example because it's something that it's measurable, right? You can actually see how much money you have in your bank account. If we go back and actually analyze these things, most of us, when we really understand the subconscious programming, It was maybe because your parents grew up telling you, hey, no, you can't have this because there's not enough money. Or maybe subconsciously they didn't want to tell you that they didn't have money. So what they would do instead is say, no, you didn't behave and you're not actually deserving of this toy that you want or this popsicle that you want, you name it, right? Or maybe you didn't have parents in your life and therefore you grew up around people that were telling you very, very harsh things that now it's up to us to decide if we want to keep carrying that baggage around or if we don't no longer need it. So this is where I mean that getting clear is really going to allow you to start understanding what don't you and what do you want. Something that has personally helped is creating a worksheet. So I'm going to give you something that personally I've created. Mind Valley, the creator of Mind Valley is 𝐓𝐢𝐦𝐞𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐦𝐩𝐬. He has this worksheet and I added one pillar to it that really has helped me in getting clear with these goals that I picture in my brain that I'm trying to bring into this reality. So the first one is, what do you want to create? What do you want to create in life? What is something that you wholeheartedly know that you want to create? And if you're looking at the, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see my little sheet that I have here. So I created the pillars, and then I have an additional one where I did exclusively for our creating section. Like, what do I hope to create? So some of the things I covered in this is going to be, what are the things that I want to create in my life? What are some of the things that I want to experience in my life? What do I want to experience and have the luxury of doing? Maybe it could be something as, simple as a slow morning in the mornings. Maybe it could be something as beautiful as maybe traveling the world. Whatever that experience to you resonates with, you want to get very clear on it. And as you can see, literally you want to get very clear on every single one of them. Write it down to the point where you really are understanding what you want as a person. The third category, is going to be, what do you want to actually contribute? And contributing is something that I think is very important in this process, because yes, it's one thing to want to create something. It's another thing to want to experience something, but there's something very powerful from actually contributing back. And this is something that actually Tony Robbins talks a lot about. We are humans, and a lot of other authors have talked about it, but we are humans in our natural state. We are giving. And this might sound like, yeah, right, Alexa, like, have you not seen what's going on in the world? Yeah, but this comes a lot from our limiting beliefs, which is why you're here trying to better understand yourself, right? But if you really understand the concept behind we are giving creatures, we are giving human beings, it comes from that sense of purpose, and it comes from that sense of understanding that if there was somebody that needed your help, let's say it was a friend, let's say it was a family member, and you had it in your power to actually help them, you would help them. And again, maybe you're gonna say, no, Alexa, I wouldn't. Survival of the fittest, because that was my mindset for the longest time. But if we strip that away and we strip away the victim mentality of everybody's out to get me, which is one of the reasons I used to think like that, like, no, either you or me, and it's not gonna be me. So again, survival of the fittest. So when we can strip that layer out and we actually analyze it, like, would I actually be a giving person? The answer is yes. Why? Because at the very core, there's two things that we really want, and that is to be loved and that is to be accepted. There's obviously some other categories there, but to the very, very essence of everything that we are doing, whether you think, Alexa, I want to create more money. Okay, cool. Why do you want to create more money? Oh, well, because I want a house. Okay, why do you want a house? Oh, well, because I want to have my family live there. Okay, why do you want your family to live there? And then you go deeper and you're like, actually getting to the meat of it, and you realize, oh gosh, the reason why I want this to happen is because I want my family to love and accept me, and I want them to see me as a provider. You see, so at the very core of everything, those are two natural instincts that we have within us. So when we can understand what we want to contribute to the world, this is going to really help you in that process of, yes, what do I want to create and what do I want to experience? But furthermore, how do I see myself contributing back to this world with these gifts that I am blessed with? And another pillar of that is growth, because we can't do any of these things unless we're willing to grow. And this is why for me personally, I love the concept behind self-improvement. A lot of people, sometimes they knock on it and they say like, oh, reading books of like empowerment and like personal development are such a waste of time. Like you should just be learning how to create more money, and you should work on ads and understanding marketing. And I'm going to say one thing that I have seen throughout the people that are the most successful in life. The people that are genuinely successful and genuinely happy, because remember, it's one thing to be successful and it's another thing to be happy. You can actually be successful without being happy, okay? And this is something that if you really understand, the people that are actually willing to continue to invest in themselves, in their personal development, in their growth, these are the people that we see being the thought leaders of the world. So when we can understand this to a deeper level and really understand like, why am I doing this? Okay, we talked about how to uncover it gradually, 1 minute at another, right? One step at a time. But also, how do I need to grow in order for me to be able to experience this? Because if I don't invest in myself, which you've heard me say this before, you are the biggest asset you have, not the car, not the house, not the boyfriend, not the wife, you. So if you can learn to invest in yourself, then you are able to raise those skill levels that you have. Like one of the things that I put on my sheet was I want to learn over 10 languages. Like before I am old, I don't believe in becoming old, because I think that your mind, and there was an actual study geared around this, okay, for those of you that are interested in living longer. There was a study that they did. They told people like, hey, I want you to like think of yourself as a 70-year-old. And they were like in their 30s. And they were like, hey, think about it and think this and tell yourself you can't do this and you can't do that because you have all these limiting beliefs around the age gap. And they did that for a whole year. And after the year, they realized that these people were actually physically, okay, like physically they could see that they had actually deteriorated. Like they looked a lot worse than when they started the study. Your mind is a very powerful tool you have. So I say this because when you can actually understand this whole concept behind what are you putting into your body, yes, but what are you also consuming? What are you taking the time to invest in? So a lot of the times, when I say this about, the 10 languages that I want to learn, I would tell myself, okay, this is something that I'm interested in. And so far I'm working on the third one again. I know English, obviously. I know Spanish, and then I know a little bit of French, and I am actively getting better at it because that's just something that, for those of you that have known a little bit of my story, you know that I have a very deep connection to France, and I used to study French. So for me now, this is something that I want to experience. I want to be able to just say like, hey, next time I go to Paris, I'm going to be able to fully have a conversation without my Google Translate, right? So what do you want to experience? These things, whatever that might be, is going to lit something up inside of you. And going back to the first point that I mentioned earlier, when you get clear on what you want and you get clear on what you don't want, going to the dark place, what I mean by that is picture all the things that you feel could go wrong. And this is something that you want to work your way out of that, so bear with me. But a lot of people, they have limiting beliefs around money because they feel like, man, when am I going to be able to stop working? Like, when am I actually going to be able to say like, I can just travel the world and enjoy? So they go through this like, what if scenario, but they never fully explore that. So fully explore it. Like you're in your 70s, you're old. Mel Robbins was saying this, like you're old, you have like no retirements, everything's wiped out. Like, what are you gonna do? And then now really rework yourself to now understand, okay, this is how things could look in a very negative future. But you know what? I'm actively gonna do something today. And this is where that fire of getting very clear on what do you want to create, what do you want to experience, what do you want to grow in, and what do you want to contribute in is going to really help you solidify that picture. Now, this fourth concept in this list is going to be your daily affirmations. And daily affirmations is something that, again, many people think, oh, I'm gonna sit outside and, you know, say there's a tree there, and the tree's gonna pop up. Of course not, right? Like, there are actual physical laws of the universe that would not allow for that to happen, because you're not putting any energy into that tree growing. You're just thinking about it, but you need to actually also back your thoughts with actions. So daily affirmations are priming your brain into understanding that, okay, this is what I want to do today. How can I achieve that today? How am I going to prime myself? Am I going to wake up and the first thing I'm going to do is look at my phone? Am I going to wake up and the first thing I'm going to do is start yelling at my, you know, kids or at my partner, my roommate? Or am I going to take a moment of gratitude and really prime my day for what I want to see? And something that I will add as a little tip here is your RAS, reticular activating system. So your RAS basically is what allows us to focus or ignore certain things. It's the thing in our brain that when you're driving allows you to not focus on all the hundreds of cars that are surrounding you, but on the 2 cars that might be next to you. It's the thing that allows you to focus on the things that you actually think are important. And there's this fun little test that you can do to prove that the reticular activating system actually works. Picture that you're going to see a heart, okay? Like, picture that heart, visualize that heart, and I promise you, that day, when you're looking for that heart, you're going to find that heart. There's another one where you can actually picture a ladder, and if you picture the ladder, you visualize yourself climbing the ladder, you're gonna see the ladder. That is how the RAS works. The reticular activating system is going to give you and ignore the things that serve you and the things that you think don't serve you. So the affirmations are actually working in conjunction with the RAS to truly help you focus on the things that you want to experience in your life. And this is something that is all geared around these subconscious patterns. If you can understand how these subconscious patterns have been there, because your grandparents passed them on to your parents and your parents passed them on to you, or your foster parents, or your uncle, or your grandma, or whoever raised you. These are all programs that are literally being played in your brain that were not yours. Something that I always like to ask people is, who are you? Like, genuinely answer that question. Not, I'm the lawyer, not I'm the, you know, real estate advisor, not I'm the doctor, not I'm the teacher, not I'm the warehouse worker. Who are you? Before you were born, you were already you. You were divinely created in order for you to experience this world. And something that a lot of people don't realize until they're in their deathbed thinking about is like, what did I do with my time? And this is why it's so important for us to really start understanding these concepts, to really live from a place of, I am capable, I am successful, I am able to create all of these things. And how am I really going to justify not going out and doing these things simply because I'm afraid of what people might think? Whatever your limiting belief might be, getting clear is going to help you. And the last tip that I have for you is embodying. And I had somebody ask me, like, what do you mean when you say embody, Alexa? Like, what does that mean? Well, embody means acting from it. You can know something, but are you acting in that manner of you knowing something? So I can know that stealing is bad, but then every time I go to the store, I steal something, right? I'm not embodying the good character of not being somebody that steals. So embodying is the equivalent to you actually stepping into that new person and acting as that person that already has these things. So that successful person, how do they show up? Are they a person that, you know, wakes up in the morning, doesn't brush their teeth, doesn't wash their face, you know, just puts on whatever, goes out, talks to people in a rude way, doesn't actively try and learn new things? Is that how a successful person would act? Or does a successful person do all of the opposite of that? They wake up, one of the things I always tell my son is like, you need to make sure that the image that you're putting out there is the image you want the world to see. And this is something that it can be very misconstrued it if you think about it, because it's like, well, you're not trying to people please either. No, but you should want to please yourself, and you should want to feel good with yourself. So I tell him, like, dude, make sure you brush your teeth. Like, I shouldn't have to tell you this. Make sure you do your hair. Make sure you're having a nice outfit. All of these things are things of embodiment, because you're acting as that person that already has in this physical reality that thing that you're hoping to attract. And the last thing that you want to remember is that you are the creator of your reality. And what this means is that you can sit here and think all day that everybody's against you, and that nobody likes you, and that you're never gonna get that promotion, and that you're never gonna do X, Y, and Z. And because you're a creator, and because you have the ability to create what you choose to, the universe is gonna support you on this. But at the same time, if you are somebody that believes, I am worthy of success, I am worthy of the abundance that surrounds me, I am worthy of love, I am worthy of respect, I am worthy of the new opportunities that I'm constantly receiving, I know that every day in every way I am getting better and better and better. These are things that you are signaling to the universe and telling the universe, I'm ready to receive. You're not coming from anxiety, you're not coming from lack, you're coming from knowing. And that was something that really hit home when I heard that. It's not about actually hoping for something, it's about knowing that you deserve that, and knowing that it's gonna happen. So with that, I hope this was helpful for you guys. I want to say thank you so much for those of you that continue to come around. Remember, we do have a free community. We recently moved into school. For those of you that know what school is, you don't have to get a further explanation. Feel free to join. The link is down below. For those of you that don't know what school is, it's basically a platform in which you're able to learn new skills from whatever skills you might be interested in, you name it, they have it. And people can create groups, and we have a free group for our clients and for our community members to join. We have some workbooks that we create. We also have live events that we're actually working on. And then we also have guided meditation workbooks there that are attached with one of the free trainings that we've provided. So if that's something that resonates with you, feel free to join. You can also follow me on social media so that you can give me feedback about things that you want to talk about. Remember, conversations work two ways, okay? So if there's something that you're like, Alexa, I really would like for you to cover this, because this is how we grow, guys. Honestly, like, if you're uncomfortable putting yourself out there because you feel like somebody's gonna ignore you. I had one person, beautiful person, they messaged me and they were like, oh my gosh, I didn't think you were gonna reply. It's like, no, like, people that don't reply, you know, I feel like no matter how busy you get, you should have a team to help you, because you guys are what makes it happen. We are co-creating this reality when it comes to making somebody be able to share their message. So that's why I keep telling you guys, if there's something you want to talk about, there's something you guys want us to cover, please feel free to reach out. I would be more than happy to make sure that we can cover that. And of course, as always, I hope you guys have a fabulous day. Remember to embody and to be the walking manifestator that you were born to be. I'll talk to you guys on the next one.